Hello everyone, this is Glenda and welcome back to Creative Grandma. It's Stitch of the Week time and this week's stitch is number 88. It's called the alternating post stitch, or what I call the all over post stitch. It's a wonderful textured design using double crochet and a front post double crochet. It's very easy to do, a simple repeat pattern, and it works up very quickly. Now this sample might look familiar to you. I just did the video of AC Moore going online, and I showed this yarn, the earth tone yarns, in one of my videos, and I worked up this stitch sample and everybody wanted to know what it was and if I was going to do it as a stitch of the week. So that's the stitch this week that I did. Now there's a couple things I want to point out to you. This pattern here, I change colors every 2 rows, and I used a size I9 5.5 millimeter hook. And then when I did my other 2 samples, I didn't realize, but I dropped down a hook size by accident, and I was kind of wondering why my samples got a little bit tighter. So I'm going to show you that. But let me just go over the colors real quick of what colors I used in this sample. Again, this is the Stitch Studio by Nicole, the earth tone yarns. And this first color here that I used was this beautiful maple leaf, and this is a cranberry color. It shows up a little bit rust on the screen, but it's actually like a cranberry. So that's this reddish color. And then the next color, this gold color, is the butternut. And that again is the Stitch Studio by Nicole in the earth tones. This third color is a beautiful dark plum color, and this color is called Purple Heart. So that's this Purple Heart color. And then I used a fourth color, and that's this one here showing, and this is taupe. So these are beautiful earth tone colors by Stitch Studio by Nicole, and these yarns, they did sell out. I'm not sure when they'll be back in stock, but these are available on AC Moore when they come back in stock. This pattern, I change colors every 2 rows, and for this sample I use 4 colors. Now when you look at the sample, you can see it has a very nice drape to it, just a very nice feel of the stitches. Now let me show you my second sample, and this is where I dropped down a hook size and was wondering, I'm not sure if you can tell on camera of how tight this is. It has a tight feel to it, which if you were making a purse or maybe a rug, you would want it this tight and, you know, thick. But I can just feel the difference. And if I was working up sample swatches and I was making an Afghan, I would definitely choose the size I9 hook over the H. Just a really nice, better drape. See what hook size you prefer for what yarn you're using. You don't have to use the hook size I use. I'm just telling you my preference of what I'm experiencing working this stitch up with the 2 different size hooks. Now these both are number 4 medium weight yarns. I'm going to move this sample out and go over the colors I used in my second sample. Now this second sample I started with white, and I used 4 colors in this sample as well. I wish I would have had a couple more shades of purple, because I think this would have been gorgeous if I had more shades and went from light to dark and just increased that right down with more colors. But I only had the colors here in the sample. So I started with Red Heart Super Saver. Now these colors are all Red Heart Super Saver, and I love Red Heart Super Saver yarn. I say it many times. I use this yarn in a lot of my samples and a lot of my projects. There's so many wonderful yarns out there. I try to use them all, but I always come back to Red Heart Super Saver because of the price, the value, and the durability of this yarn. So again, this was started with color number 311 white, and then I come up to this lighter shade of purple, and that was Pale Plum, and this is color number 579, just a very pretty light plum shade. And then the next color I chose was medium purple, and this was color 528, again Red Heart Super Saver. And then the last color of purple I used was this shade here, and that was color number 358 Lavender. Again, Red Heart Super Savers. That is my second sample. And then this was changing colors every 2 rows as well. And I know I see a lot of comments where people just hate changing colors and having all these ends. Here's my next sample. This is a wonderful yarn that I ordered from Ice Yarns. I absolutely love the yarn when I seen it online. Now you can't see the pattern quite as well using this yarn. I'll hold it up close, but you can see the texture. And when I got this yarn, I didn't realize, I got to show it to you. But look at the yarn. I don't know if it's showing up, but I never seen yarn twisted this way. I don't know if you can see it in the blue the best. It has a really strange twisting. It's almost like a mini plush. It's just really cool. It works up really nice, and I have to say I really enjoyed working with it. There you can see it. It just has an unusual twisting, almost like maybe a mini Chanel. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just a strange way they put the twist to the yarn. But this is the color here, Cake Blues. That's what it looks like. This is what it works up, and you can see the little bit of texture in the yarn itself, and then you mix it with the stitch pattern. So if you wanted to try one of these self-striping or one of these other yarns that you just don't want to change colors, then this is the way to go. Again, I don't think the pattern shows up as well, but you can see it. The texture's there. I'm trying to move it around so you can see. I don't know if you can see it there. It's kind of showing up better. You can see that texture. It's just a wonderful, nice pattern. So I'm going to get my yarn. I think I'm going to use the 3 shades of purple. I'm not going to use the white. I'm filming at night and I'm on a white table. So I'm just going to start with this light purple in this block. I'm going to start with the light purple and work with these 3 shades, changing colors every 2 rows. So grab your hook. If you're using a 4 medium weight yarn to make your sample like I'm going to do, then I really do suggest you use a size I9 5.5 millimeter hook for the best results. And again, you can always change that hook size if you don't like your sample swatch. You can just play around. And my suggestion is always do a sample swatch. Make sure you like what you see before you start a larger project. You don't want to start a larger project and think, boy, I just don't like the drape of that. I think I should go smaller, or I think I should go larger with my hook size. I just believe that the size I9 is the best hook for this stitch, but you use your own judgment. I'm going to grab my hook and grab my yarn, and I'll be right back to get the stitch pattern started. I have my yarn on my hook. Now with this stitch pattern, it has a multiple of 2 plus 5. So for today's sample, I'm just going to chain 15, which is the multiple of 2, and I'm going to do that 5 times for a total of 10 chain, and then I'm going to add my 5 to make it a total of 15 chains. So yarn over, pull through that loop on your hook, that's 1. Yarn over, pull through, that's 2. Yarn over, pull through, that's 3. This does not count as a chain. So continue until you have a total of 15 chains, and I'll be back to start row 1. So I have my chain 15 made, and now we're going to begin row 1. Row 1 is just a basic double crochet row, so we're going to start and we're going to skip those first 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to insert our hook into that 4th chain from hook and work a double crochet. So yarn over the hook, skip 1, 2, 3 chain, insert into that 4th chain, yarn over, pull through, you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. You just made your first double crochet. The 3 chains that we skip count as the first double crochet. I'll show you one more time how to work a double crochet. Yarn over, insert into that next chain, yarn over, pull back through that chain. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. So now we're just going to yarn over, insert into the next chain, and work a double crochet. Yarn over, insert into the next chain, and work a double crochet. So all you're going to do is work 1 double crochet in each chain across to the end of your chain. So yarn over, insert into that next chain, and work a double crochet. So go ahead and finish working 1 double crochet in each chain across, and I will meet you at the end of row 1. I'm over at the end of row 1, and you should have your beginning chain 3 and then 12 additional double crochet worked across your sample, and that's if you started with the chain 15 to make your swatch like I'm doing. So to start row 2, we're going to chain 1, and you're going to turn your work. We're going to skip this beginning chain 1, and we're going to work right into that first stitch. So it's hard to see when you're on this side. It's easier if you turn your work towards you. You'll see your chain 1, skip that. This is your next stitch. There's your next stitch. So skip that stitch, insert your hook into that first stitch, yarn over, pull through that stitch, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. You just made a single crochet. Find your next stitch. If you have to turn your work and look for those top 2 loops. Insert your hook into those underneath those top 2 loops of that next stitch. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. You just made a single crochet. Insert into the top of the next stitch under those 2 strands and work a single crochet. Insert into the top of the next stitch under those top 2 strands. You want to work under both loops and work a single crochet. You're going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch across, and I'll meet you at the end of row 2. I'm over at the end of row 2, but I did not work in my last stitch because I wanted to work it right with you. You can see that we end with a turning chain of that chain 3 that we skipped to begin our first row. So what we're going to do is we're going to count up to the top of that chain 3, so count up 1, 2, 3. Insert your hook into the top of that turning chain from the previous row, and you're going to work a single crochet into that end chain. And that completes your row. So again, rows 1 and row 2 were our base rows, and now we're going to start row 3, and row 3 through 6 is our repeat rows, which are really pretty simple, and I think that you'll be surprised at how easy the stitch pattern is. Now I'm changing colors every 2 rows, so I'm just going to go ahead and fasten off my yarn. I'm going to grab my new color, and I'll be right back to start row 3. So I'm over at the end of row 2, and I'm getting ready to start row 3. So we're going to turn our work. I have my new color, medium purple, and I leave about a 3 or 4 inch length. So I'm just going to pull that new color through, grab that yarn, and just pull it through your stitch. We're going to start row 3 with a chain 2, 1, 2, and that counts as our first half double crochet. For this row, we're going to start with a half double crochet and end with a half double crochet. We're going to jump right into our repeat pattern. We're going to work a front post double crochet in the next corresponding double crochet 2 rows below. Now the instructions may be a little intimidating to a new crocheter, so just follow along step by step and you'll get the hang of this pattern. It is really quite simple. So yarn over the hook. We're going to drop down 2 rows below, because this is our next stitch here. So when it says your next corresponding stitch, the corresponding means that this is the next stitch, but you're not going to work in it. You want to find the corresponding stitch, which would be the stitch right under it 2 rows below. So we yarned over. We're going to drop down 1, 2. We're going to go from front to back, back to front, around the post of that stitch, yarn over, pull underneath the post of that stitch, pull up. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. You just worked your first front post double crochet, and it should be in that second stitch from the end. So now we're going to work a double crochet into the next single crochet, and the single crochet is in the top current row. So yarn over, insert into the next single crochet on the current row, and work a double crochet. That was your repeat. We're just going to repeat that across. We're going to work a front post double crochet into the next corresponding stitch 2 rows below. Again, this is the next stitch, and this is the next corresponding double crochet 2 rows below, because you're going 1, 2 rows below. Yarn over, drop down 1, 2, insert from front to back and back to front around that double crochet stitch on row 1, and work a double crochet. Very simple, easy pattern once you do it. Then you're going to jump back up to the current row, and we're going to work a double crochet into this next single crochet. So yarn over, insert into that next single crochet, and work a double crochet. We're going to work a front post double crochet in that next corresponding double crochet 2 rows below, 1, 2. So yarn over, count down 1, 2, insert from front to back and back to front around the post of that stitch, and work your double crochet. Now the nice thing about this pattern is when you're working across, it's very easy to see if you made a mistake, because when you're working these front post double crochet, you should always have just 1 stitch in between them that's not worked. So if I would have put this stitch over here, you would have seen 2 stitches, and then you would have realized you made a mistake. So it's a nice way to be able to tell if you're going into the right stitches, because you have a front post, a plain stitch, a front post, and you repeat that across. Okay, so now we're going to work a double crochet into the next single crochet into the current row. Yarn over, insert into that next single crochet, and work a double crochet. We're going to work the front post double crochet into the next corresponding stitch 2 rows below into that double crochet. Yarn over, drop down 1, 2 to that double crochet, insert from front to back, back to front around the post of that stitch. Yarn over, pull underneath the post of that stitch, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. We're going to work a double crochet into this next single crochet on the top current row, yarn over, insert into that next single crochet, and work a double crochet. We're almost to the end. We're going to work a front post double crochet in the next corresponding double crochet 2 rows below. So yarn over, skip that top stitch, drop down to that corresponding stitch 2 rows below, insert from front to back, back to front around the post of that stitch, yarn over, pull through and underneath that stitch, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. We're going to work a double crochet into the top current row in that next single crochet stitch. Yarn over, insert into that top single crochet stitch, and work a double crochet. We have 2 stitches remaining. We have 2 single crochet. So now we're going to work a front post double crochet into the next corresponding double crochet 2 rows below. Yarn over, drop down 1, 2 to that double crochet 2 rows below, insert from front to back, back to front around the post of that stitch, yarn over, pull underneath the post of that stitch and pull up. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. So now we're over to our last single crochet, and that's right here. So if you're not sure, just look at your work. And then I always tell people it ends with like a little rainbow bar that just makes a rainbow over the end of your stitch, the ending bar I call it. And then if you turn your stitches, you can tell you still have one stitch remaining because here's that little teardrop shape right here. So we're going to work a half double crochet into that last stitch, yarn over, insert underneath the top 2 strands of that last stitch, yarn over, pull through. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. You just ended with a half double crochet. So now row 4 is a very simple row. We're going to chain 1 and you're going to turn your work. You're going to skip this beginning chain 1. You're going to insert your hook under those top 2 strands of that next stitch, which is your first stitch. Let me take my hook out again. You skip that beginning chain 1 space, and then this will be your first stitch here. So this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So insert back into underneath those top 2 strands of that beginning stitch and work a single crochet. Insert your hook, and again, it's hard to see on the wrong side, so if you're new to crocheting, just turn that work until you see those teardrops. Let me turn this so you can see them. Here's a stitch, here's your stitch, here's your stitch, and here's your stitch. So it is easier if you're new to turn that work and find that stitch that way. Insert into that next stitch under those 2 strands, yarn over, pull through the stitch. You have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. That's your single crochet. Insert underneath the top 2 strands of that next stitch and work a single crochet. And you're just going to continue working 1 single crochet in each stitch across. Insert underneath those 2 strands and work a single crochet. Insert underneath those 2 strands and work a single crochet. I'm just going to go ahead and work my stitches right across the row because we don't have that many stitches to go. Insert underneath the top 2 strands, and again, if you have to turn your work towards you, I have to do it at times. I turn it so I can see those stitches. Work that single crochet, continue across, and then when you come to the end of row 4, again, you're going to come to that chain 2 space where we started the previous row with the beginning chain 2. You're going to count up 1, 2. You're going to insert into the top of that turning chain 2 where we started the previous row and work a single crochet. And because I'm changing colors every 2 rows, I'm going to fasten off my work. I'm going to grab my next color, which is lavender, and I'll be right back to start row 5. So I'm at the end of row 4 and we're getting ready to start row 5. So we're going to turn our work. This is the wrong side, and we're just going to turn it over so the right side of your work is facing. So for row 5, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working our front post double crochet here. We're going to be working it in between the ones we worked previously. So we'll be working into this double crochet here across the row in between those. That's what alternates our front post stitches in this design. So we're working the same stitches, we're just working them in between the previous front post stitches. So let's begin. I'm going to leave about a 3 or 4 inch length. I'm going to insert my hook underneath the top 2 strands of that first stitch and pull that new color through. We're going to start with a chain 2, 1 and 2, and this counts as our first half double crochet. We start with this chain 2 for the first half double crochet, and we end our row with a half double crochet. So for this row, we're going to work a double crochet into that next single crochet stitch on the current row. Yarn over, insert into that next stitch, and work a double crochet. Now we're going to work our front post double crochet in the next corresponding double crochet 2 rows below. So yarn over, you're going to drop down 1, 2 to that corresponding double crochet 2 rows below, insert from front to back and back to front around the post of that stitch and work your double crochet. And when you look at your work, you'll see that that stitch will be right in the center of the 2 previous front post stitches. And we're alternating. So we're going to work a double crochet into the next single crochet on the current row, yarn over, insert into that single crochet in the top current row, and work a double crochet. And that's all there is to it. It's the same repeat, and that's the end of the repeat. So again, it's the same repeat, we're just putting it in a different location. So yarn over the hook, you're going to drop down 2 rows below to that next corresponding double crochet, insert from front to back and back to front, and work a double crochet. So your front post double crochet is made, and you can see how they're alternating. These are right into the center of those 2 previously worked front post stitches. So yarn over, insert into the next single crochet stitch on the current row, and work a double crochet. That's the end of your repeat, and we're just going to work that right across our row. Yarn over, insert into the next corresponding double crochet 2 rows below, 1, 2, insert from front to back and back to front around the post of that stitch. Yarn over, pull underneath that stitch, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. You just worked your front post double crochet. Yarn over, insert into the next single crochet of that current row, and work a double crochet. This pattern works up really quickly once you get the hang of where to put your stitches. It's just an excellent textured pattern. Yarn over, insert in the next corresponding double crochet stitch 2 rows below, 1, 2, insert from front to back, back to front around the post of that stitch, yarn over, pull underneath the post of that stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. Yarn over, you're going to insert into the next single crochet stitch in the current row and work a double crochet. Yarn over, you're going to insert into the next corresponding double crochet 2 rows below, 1, 2, drop down, insert from front to back, back to front around the post of that stitch, yarn over, pull underneath that stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. You're going to work a double crochet into the top of that next single crochet on the current row. Yarn over, insert into that single crochet on the current row, and work a double crochet. So now we're over to the end of our row, and we have 1 single crochet remaining, and we're going to end this row with a half double crochet. Yarn over, insert into that ending single crochet, yarn over, pull back through that stitch. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. It's a very beautiful pattern, and you can see how it's coming along quite nicely already. So now we're going to do our last repeat row, and that's another simple row. You're going to chain 1 and you're going to turn your work. We're just going to skip that beginning chain 1. You're going to insert underneath the top 2 strands of that first stitch, and again, when you're working these single crochet rows, that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. You're going to go right into that first stitch. So insert into that first stitch and work a single crochet. Insert into the next stitch, and again, you're working on the wrong side, so if you're not sure, turn your work and look for those teardrops. You're going to insert your hook under those top 2 loops and work a single crochet. Insert into the next stitch and work a single crochet. Insert into the next stitch and work a single crochet. So I'm just going to work right across the row with you, and we're going to work one single crochet in each stitch across. So we're halfway there, and again, if you have to turn your work, turn it, look for those top two strands, insert underneath those strands, and work a single crochet. Again, for new crocheters, it's hard to see your stitches. Just turn your work and you can see them right on top. And just continue working one single crochet in each stitch across. So we have a couple stitches to go. And then when you get to the end, you'll have that ending chain 2 where you started the previous row. You count up 1, 2, insert into the top of that turning chain 2 from the previous row, and work a single crochet. So I end off at the end of each single crochet row if you're changing colors every 2 rows. Now, if you don't want to change your colors that often, you can work as many rows as you want before you change colors. It's just that the pattern goes with one row of the textured stitches and then a row of single crochet to come back, and that's why I always change colors at the end of the single crochet row. So if you want to change colors, you would change it in either every 2 rows, every 4 rows, every 6 rows, every 8 rows, and so forth. Just take those 2 rows times however many times you want to work your color. But you should always change colors at the end of a single crochet row. So it all depends on what color scheme you want to use. So that's the pattern. So take your time, click back on the video as many times as you need to, and you'll get the hang of this stitch. So remember everyone, the link for this stitch pattern is in the description box. All my Stitch of the Week stitch patterns are free. You just click on that link, you go to my website, you just scroll down till you find that Stitch of the Week. You just click on it, a little file will show up in the bottom left of your computer screen. You click that file and you can download it right to your computer for immediate use. So if you don't know how to read instructions, a good way to learn is get that pattern, print it out, and as you're watching me do this video, look at the instructions, and that's a good way to try to teach yourself how to read instructions. So thank you everybody for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this sample, and again, if you work this sample up using the white, it ends up looking like this. Just a really pretty pattern. Let me show you the other one again. This was made with that ice yarn using a multicolored where I just used the same color without changing colors. It's just one skein. It was this yarn here where I just continued working. I didn't have to change colors, and that's nice if you hate changing colors. And then that third sample I made was this using those earth tone colors. So get creative, have fun, choose excellent colors for your own home decor, and remember, this pattern is excellent for just about anything. Pillows, sweaters, afghans, even a gorgeous rug would be perfect in this color. Leave a comment, give me a thumbs up, and please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and don't miss any of the crocheting fun. Happy crocheting, everyone!